Well, it was a totally different way of writing, arranging and recording music, really, because we didn't, when we decided to do the hit parade, we didn't think, okay, let's get all the songs together, record them all, and then kind of release them. We thought it would, in some ways, that would be kind of cheating or something. I don't know. We had this weird idea that we should do it through the year, really. So the compromise was that we recorded in 4 separate segments, and so we wrote 3 songs, we arranged 3 cover versions for the B-side, went off to the studio, recorded them, mixed them, did 3 videos, made 3 T-shirts, and then the process continued again with different engineers and producers through the year. Yeah. So logistically, I've got to say, it was a complete nightmare, to be honest, because it was, the band carried on at the same time. We did the normal tours, yeah. We toured America and all the rest of it. So in terms of time, it was a very busy year, and I think, I was personally glad when it was finished, really, because okay, now we can get back to actually, just writing a selection of songs, and when we're all happy, we'll go and record it, rather than, well, it's the end of the month, and we haven't really arranged that B-side yet, have we? So there was always I presume I guess it's the same as being, working for a magazine or a TV program where there's a schedule to meet, yeah. and you have to kind of, from a songwriter and from a pop musician's point of view, you hardly ever get that, really. It's always, you've got the freedom to do something, and then you do it. So it was a totally different way of working. And I think, we had this kind of rule between us that if we felt that the kind of workload was getting too much and it was affecting the musical output of the group, we would abort the series, because it wasn't that, it wasn't that important that we did a single every month for a year. But I think, with the exception of a couple of B-sides, which I think could have been better, I think it worked. I think it worked fine. Mm-hmm. I think Paul Dorrington was from more of a, I think he was more interested in possibly, I'd say, kind of American alternative rock bands of that time than Peter was. So I think he brought a different dynamic to the guitar playing, basically. Mm-hmm. I think also he had a certain a good knowledge of pop culture, though, as well, I think. So it was an interesting combination, I think. That he was happy to do a Monkees cover version or something, because he quite enjoyed that. But at the same time, he did get some really interesting kind of darker, kind of American sounding guitar riffs, I think, as well. Well, that was part of the thing. We wanted to work with different people throughout the year. So I mean, to be honest, obviously it's an album now, and it was an album then, even. But in my mind, and I think in the mind of in the minds of the people in the band, we never intended it to be like an LP. It was always going to be a series of singles. I mean, ideally, I would have liked to use a different person for each single. Gone in there, recorded the A side, recorded the B side. Next, but obviously it would have been far too expensive and been a nightmare, even more than it was. So it was a compromise to use 4 people, but yeah, we did kind of purposely, I think, choose people from different kind of backgrounds. And I think, and you can hear that as well, when you play them, in succession. Yeah. It does change through the year, really. So it's almost seasonal. You've got these three singles from each kind of season, in a way. Well, it's funny with the B-sides, because obviously they're all covers, and I think originally, I mean, before that time, we'd do cover songs sporadically, and it was usually a song that a couple of members of the band, really liked, and we thought, okay, let's have a go, and we did it, and it was fine. But then, because of the fact that each of these cover versions was the B-side of a single, it became more important in some ways, and so I think we felt, we thought more about it, and I think we wanted to. I think at that point, for the first time, we probably tried to add things, you know, rather than just kind of playing it straight as a wedding present. Here's so and so. Let's just do that. I think I think we tried to kind of modify that a little bit, that approach. I'm not sure it was totally successful, to be honest. I think a few of them are a bit too close to the originals, for instance. But I think through the year, because it was, it's quite difficult to do cover versions sometimes, because you don't want to, because so on the one hand you want to pick a really good, great song. On the other hand, you don't want your version to be far inferior to that song. So it's like a compromise, really. You've got to add something else. You've got to make it great, but at the same time, you don't want to do a rubbish song to make your song, to make your version sound great. So, and then also, you're doing a series of them, so you want it to change, and I think there's almost a point where we were kind of thinking, what songs shouldn't we do? And the theme from Shaft springs to mind, because it's here's 4 white boys from Britain doing this funky black American soundtrack, and I played that the other day actually, because I was a bit nervous, because I thought maybe it's going to sound absolutely terrible these years later, but I don't think it sounds too bad. I think the vocals are a bit weird, but I think the instrumentation actually works quite well. I think Blue Eyes actually is my favourite of the Hit Parade series, because I wrote the little kind of guitar bit at the beginning, which it's been the bane of my life ever since, to be honest, because it's the hardest thing I ever play on a wedding present concert, and it's really tricky. But I'm not really a great guitarist, if I'm honest with you. It's not my forte at all. I'm quite a good rhythm guitarist, but I can keep good time, but I'm not a naturally gifted guitarist, really. So. But on that one, it sounds like I am, I think. So I'm quite pleased with that one. I think it's a good song as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Falling.
That's your favourite?
Yeah, Falling's definitely my favourite, because I think I loved that TV programme Twin Peaks, and I liked the music, and I think that was one of the occasions where I think the original music's it's great. It's very evocative and it's very tuneful, and I love all the kind of mood of it. But at the same time, I think our version is as good, if not better. It's kind of darker, because it's obviously like a guitar version of it. And I think it's one of the favourite things that we've ever recorded, really.